June 24 inside the year 2025. I want to take this opportunity for welcome all to the weekly government, press and civic engagement with the Ministry of Information and Civic Education. They carry it to the people of Salone every week. I want to start to say plenty thank you to all the media partners that we are, and the one them particularly when they carry we live at the various platforms there. We did live on AYV, on SLBC, on plenty community radio station there across the country, and also on national radio station there. I also want to tell plenty thank you to the bloggers, the way they are, with major blogging communities, the way they carry on their platform, and there's plenty of them now they we feed live from the ministry page and then carry them. Today, we get a very important conversation. We can provide updates to the people of Salone on the implementation of the Tripartite agreements and the recommendations there. We get 3 outstanding Sierra Leoneans in the field. We don't come for talk, but we get this conversation. On the left, I get the principal executive advisor to the president on the public service and the head of the public service reform unit, Dr. Emmanuel Gaima. On my right, I get the Director of Research and Programs at the Institute for Governance Reform, Madam Fredlyn McCormack Hale, they say a professor. And on my far right, I get the head of the Tripartite Secretariat, with Mr. Golo Kata. As usual, before we get into the conversation properly, I want to take this opportunity again for thank you to all the sponsors and partners there. And today, I want to start with VSO, with make sure say people with disability able to follow we live. We're proud of that. Say all programs at the Ministry of Information and Civic Education now get sign language. I also want to thank you to Orange, Africell, Zood Labs, Sierra Water and Capital Food, and all the other ones that they help we follow reach you. Now let's just do quick updates on the news we happened over the past week. Of course, the biggest news that the country, now that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Salone, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Wonebio, was successfully elected as the chairperson of the Authority of Heads of States and Governments of the Economic Community of West African States. Now, as a Sierra Leonean, anybody, this is a moment of great pride. It should say, we are country we look up to for leadership. The world we don't vote for we within the Security Council, within the African Security Council, we don't share APRM, and now the president at a time of great turmoil in the world, all kind challenges in the world, and also even ECOWAS, the community is threatened, but the world with leaders in West Africa say the first way they trust for them become the statesman who will lead them now, and President Julius Maada Bio. This is a big moment for we country, and I want for you this opportunity for congratulate His Excellency for that prestigious position they will assume, and we wish her well in that role for them will continue to advance the principles of democracy, inclusion, and peace now we solve region. Second quick update I want to provide now that His Excellency don't arrive now Brussels, Belgium for the Global Health Summit where they happen 25th June. This Global Health Summit now the European Union, the Gates Foundation, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, that they all come together for host this important health summit in Brussels. His Excellency was personally invited for Lego deliver one of the keynote speeches there for talk about what we don't do in Salon, the advances that we don't make, like how we share. We are the world now are one of the best performing countries on reducing maternal mortality. And President Bill want to see waiting more we supposed to do for go forward. The next thing we want to share quickly now that the Ministry of Information and Civic Education will host here in collaboration with the University of the Fraser Valley in Canada will be host a meeting here for champion gender equality and inclusive education in Salone. The Honorable Minister for Technical and Higher Education, Hajara Matulai, will deliver the keynotes. The Honorable Minister for Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Aisata Mahoy Binde, and the Honorable Minister for Deputy Minister for Education, one, a basic and senior secondary education, Madam Emily Goga, as well be joining a panel. It'll be an inclusive meeting. We get people from all over Salone, in Canada, and we reaffirm President Bill commitment to progressive reforms and to the values them within inside the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Bill and the Radical Inclusion Policy. One quick update that the Ministry of Health don't announce something where plenty of them have been carried. Say that baby will be missing now the Oladuri Children's Hospital in Afrito. They don't fend and they don't safely return them to the facility. So when they take one baby, we make news all over. And the ministry and government, we put everything in place for make sure so they will fend this baby and return them to a legitimate experience there. And we say, Alhamdulillah, that they don't happen now. We tell God thank you for that. Final news for today, and that we say last week we host a historic, unprecedented presidential town hall when I mean the 16th and 17th June at the Eastern Provincial Headquarters town of Kenema. And this town hall, the Honorable Chief Minister, Dr. David Mwani Nasenge, represents His Excellency the President, but also just him. We will get over 24 cabinet officials, ministers, deputy ministers there. They take over 50 direct questions from the citizens of Salone from all over. We will get over 400 questions we can online. We will summarize into about 10. We will ask the Chief Minister before we start. We get a conversation we cover a wide range of issues. And the citizens that are Kenema will tell government thank you. I remember one of the comments there was somebody picking a microphone and an older person say, you know, one day in life get an opportunity for ask a minister the question directly and for interact with them. And so this is a part of the ministry commitment for continue for open the space for let citizens then get access to the public officials for hold we accountable and for ourselves to say we are accountable and responsible to the citizens there. So then I just some of the highlights of what happened over the past week in the country. I want to take this opportunity before we come to the panel as well for clarify one major issue. Last week, Dubois, the fact-checking sites, published, they take an article on the ministry page and then slam and say the article false. The ministry claimed now been that One Mobile don't launch West Africa's first standalone 5G network. Dubois supposed for me, and I respect them. Generally, they do a very good job. And a fact-checking institution. In the article, when they say the fact-check we, they conclude say, na lie, because Ghana get 5G network. So, inside the article, they say they don't contact an unnamed staff of the ministry for clarify, but the staff no, we don't get back to them. I want to make clear to formulate, say, one, they don't contact me and I'm available. I don't clarify for them plenty of time. They don't contact any senior member of the ministry, and they don't fact checking and false. Not to say false. We can say again, the first stand-alone 5G network in West Africa, now one mobile. In fact, now the fourth at the entire Africa. Why? Because I think say Dubois don't know the meaning, the difference between standalone and an existing 5G network. So existing 5G network, where they build on the 4G infrastructure is separate, and like where the states they build their own. When they say standalone infrastructure, that means somebody can separate from what you already did. Is set up in your infrastructure. So while Ghana already get 5G, in fact, Togo still get 5G, the first standalone, the one that is the technology, another language here, they call it SE, and we could use that word today. So I take this opportunity at this public forum for encourage Dubois for their own credibility, let them go back and inform their own public, say, the Ministry of Information and Civic Education cross-check with facts before we publish them, and make them issue a clarification on their own fact checking. We collect for this platform as well for clarify for people there. If anybody see a news from the ministry, we want for clarify, reach out to you, we clarify, we can help because we're all there for land, and we will continue for land. Alright, now we'll come back home. We're done with the past, we'll focus on the present. We'll start with a very distinguished Dr. Emmanuel Gaima, governance expert, just until recently distinguished secretary to the president, now senior advisor to His Excellency, head of public service reform unit. This man, and I can let for add say I'm a teacher as well. So at the Great Albert Academy, when I go there from one. And one of the people in this way encouraged me and put me on a stage and say, you are bold, kindly you can talk. So I get great reverence and respect for. Dr. Gaima, Tripartite don't be force plenty conversation. Tripartite na salon, Tripartite agreement with me. We say I want you for help for set the scene. Who saw don't come out for Tripartite? What does Tripartite mean? You're a teacher, so it's a good job for you. Who saw we did now? And particularly focus on the overall recommendations and set the scene where Mr. Carter will pick up from on how the secretariat operates and what they do. You help me give it the context, sir. We'll start by giving you 7 minutes and see what you will do with that 7 minutes. You hear the mic over there. I'll put the timer to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And I also use the opportunity for say good afternoon to the rest of we in the room and the people of Salon and the one that we did at the wider audience after Salon. How would I realize when we get the election in 2023, immediately after the election, concern will be raised, particularly by the main opposition or People's Congress Party. And then there is concern about the electoral outcome. And I want to make this very clear from the outset. After all of those concerns, when they come, in-house, within State House and within government. His Excellency the President also be equally get concerned. He had concerns around, for example, why would we still get void votes? Why would we still get challenges for people to understand the procedures? You get to understand, say, one of the areas where ECSA, the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone, probably begin for do more work now on voter education. And then there are also other concerns, because ECSA also will complain, say, maybe we will not get enough money, maybe the technology they use is not adequate. Sometimes we don't get almost all the qualified staff who required to do the job. So His Excellency comes to the realization, say, then maybe there is need for me to look at the ECSA and see what Englishman call whether they get structural problems they won't know the see easily. So if I would remember, in an address to the nation after that election, it been said it will put together a committee for look at the election system in Salone and all the body that waited for the voting election. In that statement of parliament, it will nominate the Honorable Vice President for chair. But after that, like people can always say, a listening president and a hearing government, concerns will say how the Vice President will run the election of the President will look independently at the committee. And so the Independent Commission for Peace, National Cohesion may make some movement to the All People's Congress, which shows some willingness for engage. His Excellency moved quickly. We get some representation from the Commonwealth Secretariat and other agencies for carrying the process. But then, at some point, the All People's Congress party said, no, they want independent parties to do that. So eventually, the government accepts. You get the Commonwealth Secretariat, you get the African Union, you get ECOWAS, and then they take one-time Vice President from the Gambia, Madame Tamako Jalo, then come in October 2023, a 3-day conference at Michimani, give back to what they call the Agreement for National Unity. This Agreement for National Unity will be between the government of Sierra Leone and the All People's Congress Party. And in that agreement, we get 8 resolutions in the Commons, where they talk on various issues. But the one where eventually we end up for stand-up body about today, now we call resolution number 3, where really by this round now be a review of electoral systems and management bodies. That is how we do election business and the various bodies that will do the election. But eventually take a name for itself, what they call Tripartite. Why do they call them Tripartite? Because the committee began 3 chairpersons. One on the part of government, where His Excellency the President, with humility, accepts, he chooses me for represent the government of Sierra Leone as one of the 3 people there. On the part of the All People's Congress, I got a colleague, college-mate, friend and brother, Dr. Kefala Mara, was chosen by the All People's Congress. Then between government and the APC will be get an independent habitat with a United Nations system as alone. So we get United Nations Resident Coordinator, Madam Serafin Wakana. So because we get 3 chair, they begin call her Tripartites. Tripartites, you know, we agree for a 6 months window. We effectively begin the work January 2024 and we run up to June 19. And on the 1st of July, a report was presented to His Excellency the President. The report came with 8 recommendations. And then, in addition to the 8 recommendations, we also put at the back of the recommendation what we call the implementation plan for our company. Because we do not salute most times the report that can come out without implementation. And one of the major institutions that we now recommend when the report focus on now the Electoral Commission for Salone. And in the report, we will say 6 months after submission of the report, government for make sure say the Electoral Commission for Salone will put on what we call independent functional management review, where an external body will work with the government of Sierra Leone through the public sector reform unit for do that. I want to report happily here that government was within the 6 months period. And the report was submitted in July and in September. That exercise will take place. For look at Electoral Commission in totality, looking mandates, mission, vision, staffing, recruitment, logistics, internal processes, internal policies, etc., etc., and for make recommendation with one objective for ensure the electoral system is improved so that going forward, we don't ever get election again, we will contest for the election. Okay. But also added to that, there were other arrangements in the other agreements which were critical. Because the All People's Congress, we also say they don't arrest all the people there. So resolution 4 we addressed how to handle that one. Again, a committee headed by the Attorney General Minister of Justice, we don't work on that. And again, after several discussions, we realized in fact the numbers as were presented by the APC, we are far below the numbers that we are actually supposed to have been heard. But again, that also has been settled around. So, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, from when that report they come out, His Excellency the President, we don't formally and officially receive that report presented to him on behalf of IFES, the International Federation for Electoral Systems, which are a globally renowned election management body, and the homegrown entity, the Public Sector Reform Unit, and the President uphold the report in its totality. So what's going to happen now? The Tripartite recommendation is saying that report also will be presented to an entity where ECSL, or what they call it, Political Parties Liaison Committee, and they will implement a parliament for give an oversight to the process. So one key issue with close to that also was that the people of Salome for decide on the electoral system forward, and currently the Tripartite Secretariat, Attorney General's Office, they engage the Iranians on the electoral system for use. So, Mr. Honorable Minister, colleagues, that's what we have for now. Thank you.
Wow, that's all I'm saying, teacher. Also, excellent summary. This 7 minutes plus presentation for user was put out for the family and know the entire summary of Tripartite. The recommendations, also we come the progress the would make, President Bureau willingness to engage, adaptability. The fact say the formalized processes, the review they don't do the recommendation, they don't accept them all wholesome throughout the process, and now different levels of consultations and engagements then ongoing. My other teacher in Mr. Thomas Kulukata, is teaching also school, but outside of the school system. He now know this man is the father of the youth movement at Salome, but now we don't graduate now, don't put out the youth movement. They take on this national task. Mr. Kata, I happen for the steering committee of the Tripartite implementation framework. And I know say the secretariat brief the people of Salome on who side the secretariat today so far, waiting the secretariat now, waiting on our role, and waiting the secretariat they do right now for help translate their recommendation here into concrete actions. Yes, sir. 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and Moderator. So, just like waiting the special principal executive advisor to the presidency. With that document will then pull and call the Tripartite report. It ends a cabinet, and cabinet form a steering committee for lead on the process. The steering committee in composition of both governments, but also opposition, the two parties in parliament and leader them. Then also all the city mayors them, also we get paramount chiefs and the civil society, etc. So now a composition of very close to 28 people. So now they don't set up the secretariat. The secretariat, we are just errand servants of the steering committee. What will we do now? Waiting the steering committee one level and waiting them for roll out the implementation of the Tripartite recommendations. Therefore, inform Sierra Leoneans. Therefore, fund resources and other support for make we do this work here. so that Sierra Leoneans can understand that. Therefore, relate with all the institutions that will not call each other that recommendation. So they work in what they do for the steering committee. And currently, we don't hold meetings with all the actors we get something for doing that business. So let's start with the opposition. I will not hold meeting with the All People's Congress, Congress Party. We don't hold meeting with all the other 15 registered political parties. We don't hold meeting with civil society. We don't hold meeting with interreligious council. We don't hold meeting with government partners. We don't hold several meetings, including with the ministries and the Ministry of Information, because now they lead on public information and civic engagement around process, the Attorney General Office. This process there, the core of recommendations about the review of laws, policies and regulations, and also institutional review process, reform process. So the Attorney General Office now they deal with one of the core issues. We all know say the Constitution of Sierra Leone not be under review for the past 20 years. So a white paper there now. And that white paper, they don't look at them, they don't see a lot of the issues inside the white paper, about 17 provisions, they link up with the tripartite recommendations. So a lot of review they take place around that. The Attorney General don't form a legal team where they move that process and where they follow through with them. And then they also review the Public Elections Act 2022, then they also review the PPRC Act 2022, and many other acts that they will review so that they all will set into that process there. Whether they don't, we will get the opportunity for carry and go back to mayor's actors and for MNSWTB. But like when Dr. Gaima said, one issue there when our recommendations 78, and he said the national dialogue for take place for talk about the electoral system between the district proportional representation and the first past the post system who for use for the next election and other elections. That the consultations that they don't begin, they don't go far. How they do them? We don't already start on this week here, last week. We don't hold targeted consultations with people that will deal with the elections business. So the EMBs, the security sector, we don't get meeting with them for 1 year, routine and really want to talk about that whole process there. We don't meet with the interreligious council. Let's say don't tell we. As moral guarantors of the country peace. We also meet with all the registered political parties. And then say don't explain their own and waiting they want for do. And then finally we'll get one expert meeting. With that meeting, they will bring experts there where they can talk about issues then. And then various people that within Sierra Leone, within that meeting, they live. Then say don't talk about what's they think say for how put them to system. This morning I come out to McKinney just for clarity on this process. Meaning, yesterday we don't hold consultation at Northwest but local, and then say not talk about most of the issues. Tomorrow we will do McKinney with the Northeast, and then we will go east. We then go south Friday and Saturday, and then Monday coming next week we will do west, now Waterloo, and then out of that day we'll get professionals that will don't put together, Sierra Leoneans, will they facilitate this process here, and then we'll write an extensive report on that. But also we bring internationals in CAP, so that we don't show biasness around this issue, we show the level of neutrality around them, for making themselves add value to the process. Then all the write that reports, that report they now will present the National Dialogue Conference, which will take place in July. So a lot of this one I will organize them. A lot of engagements will continue with awareness raising and this, but also trainings. One of the trainings that I want to talk about, and the training we will do at regional level, for media houses, bloggers, and the new media, for making them understand the standard operating procedures that they use to make them report on this issue. So we'll do it at every region, including Western world. So we invite as many of you as we can, make them understand the issues then, and make it all talk about them in a much more progressive way for the betterment of the country. We will also hold special training for persons with disability and vulnerable people. We will bring sign language down. We will also develop braille. We will train persons with disability when they understand what all this area be about, because they call the way they touch in everybody about why make elections inclusive, open and transparent for the betterment of the country. So for Mecca reach that level, now that will be right now, and will be rest assured we will continue to inform now as we go along the processes through the go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Emmanuel can call the commander, and assisting now a day in the elements. When they ask me questions about tripartite back then, when I been more topical issue, they always respond with the simple answer, say, the government of Salone committed to the implementation of the tripartite agreement and the recommendations. And we don't need other person to put pressure on it because we committed. How? Now President Leone idea. Now come up with the idea. Now I don't talk publicly many times, say you want to do the reform here, say you want to work together to solve the problems here. It's set up now, the secretariat, led by a competent team. Mr. Carter gets in team, he gets comms person, very experienced legal people there all the day. And the team they're reading at the agreements, and they follow to the letter. Making sure we get public consultations over this weekend. I see plenty news and get plenty consultations working with different partners for make sure say we do waiting President Bio committed to, waiting we with brother and sister in the opposition and the international community they agree on. One of them Master Sabi people the way we engage with in this process now Doc within any institution, the Institute for Governance Reform. But before Doc, you go into the tripartite and Leone comment on Usawide and all. Last week, as you want to put out the latest Afro Biometer reports on Salone, I've been saying you can take some moments and just present the family on this platform, waiting at some of the interesting findings from the Afro Barometer. We as a government will look for listen and learn and engage. And then I will let you also work more about who we did on the tripartite implementation and waiting I will look for see more from civil society perspective. You said yourself a minute.
Good afternoon, and Honorable Minister, thank you, and thank you for you invited me here today. So I don't say the time no long, so that's why I'll just make it small. Why not give family small information about the Afrobarometer? Afrobarometer is something where IGR they do in Salone, but actually now a non-partisan, what they call multinational. Not so Salone more than they do. They don't do them in over 40 countries, 40 African countries. And the reason why they do Afrobarometer is for let people and get ordinary citizens and get a platform so that they can get a voice on policy and decision making. It provide family with a way for them to talk about their experience on democracy, governance, and how they see their life. So Salone, we start AB, we participate in AB from 2012. This is the sixth round where we do now. And the sample size are 1,200, but we do have a random sampling way, where we say we're able to get anybody, you get an equal chance for being selected. So that's something where you can talk, say the data generalizable. So some data, and I want to data we actually go link to the topic where we have for discuss today. 2025, we see the government will get high marks whether they prevent or resolve violent conflict. So 72% of citizens talk say government they handle preventing or resolving violent conflict well or very well. So it's high. We also get on crime, 64% of citizens we talk say government they handle reducing crime well or very well. So then at the top two things outside government perform well. You also get improving basic health services, with having 53%, and addressing education, 69%. So when you talk to government get high marks on preventing conflicts, we need to think waiting they go on. We know say now from 2022 we began beaucoup tensions and back then. We began beaucoup scars, we began social media, all we end up for culminated August 10, we get the August 10 riots, and we also began fractious elections in 2023, and then the alleged coup later that year. So IGR, we've been doing a cost of politics, a cost of violence paper, where we note that during this period, you get 83 people that will actually end up for lost their life, both citizens and police. The economy been locked down for over 30 days. So we get over 460 million GDP Leone loss, 460 million Leone loss. So against this backdrop, you get the tripartite. So where you see, say, people that feel say, the tension don't calm down, you can see, okay, one thing where the tripartite may do that for bringing people in together, you get APC and SLPP, we all two come together and agree on recommendations. The Honorable Minister also say you get 8 recommendations where they agree on. So we can see, say, well, it's made some level of difference. But when it comes at the community levels, and you see what's going on at the community level, we still see a level of unrest or a level of mistrust between how citizens and the CSF. We be asked one question: how often, if ever, is your ethnic group treated unfairly by government? Meaning, how often you feel, say, ethnic group government they treat your ethnic group unfairly? You get 59% of people that the last term we say it's one day to be. It don't come up to 69%. So more people actually say government not treats the ethnic group unfairly. But when you go at the communities, you see say there's a level of mistrust of citizens with each other. When you ask citizens if they trust people from other ethnic groups, you go see say that trust level don't count dog. So we actually get 52%, so over half of citizens when they talk say, I not trust somebody from a different ethnic group at all, I trust they're small. It don't come up from the last time we asked 2022. That's been at 46%. Now it don't come up to 52%. So we see say 6% more people they talk say they don't trust people from a different ethnic group. Trust in other citizens don't count down. Trust in people from other religions all don't count down. At the same time, we see say citizens that express concerns about the economy. We get nearly 6 in 10, so 58%, where they say the country they head in the wrong direction. When you watch that data the last time when we do 2022, you be actually get more people we talk say the country's heading in the wrong direction. You be get 67% we talk that one day. Now it's improved, you get 58% when they talk say the country's heading in the wrong direction. But when you ask people about how they see the economy, 23% talk say the economy is fairly good or very good. So you see, say people then they get some concerns about how the economy. You actually get so when you see them today, and I think it's important for the kind of conversations that we get now. It's key for them to talk about electoral reforms because it can address economic issues and it can also address some of the tension and the division where we see in the country. In the AB, we actually asked some questions then specifically on electoral reform. We asked people that don't ever hear you say electoral reform they take place. And this means the work way they do Mr. Carter very key. Because you get 26%, now 26% normal citizens talk say they don't hear about this process. And you see say man them don't hear pass to woman them, 35% of man them talk say they don't hear about compared to 60% of women. You get urbanites, people that are within the urban regions that then more don't hear about and people in the western area. So nearly 40% of people in the western area will talk say yes, we don't hear about this. Compared to 21% at the south, 13% at the north, 32 and 26% at the other regions. So you see, say, knowledge of this is low. Finally, in the 25 seconds we left, we need to talk about what system we need. And he said, it's fine for go around and ask, but what do we want? That a system where we'll actually address some of the divisions where people may feel and inclusiveness. So you get, right now then it talks a PR or first past the post, but you can actually get inside the PR all the issues, you can address all the issues where people are against first past the post. That's the family for now, thank you.
Right. Doc, a lot of fascinating pieces of information we don't present to you. I shall say if the press and family get follow-up questions and go ask. I be want to know if una be ask questions. I be don't ask this to the colleague around open governance, just because we care about that. And we want to see if we get a benchmark or the judge by. Obviously, the country don't continue for rise and the press freedom index, freedom of information on MCC. We also they do in the 90%. But one of the things that we this ministry don't try for do as well is taking government to the people there, and now informing and openness. I mean, we'll take kind of like awareness and things like that. But we really want to see if our data cover areas that we will do for look at for say, okay, waiting, we can do more for promote open governance. But that's something we wanna cover briefly. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Actually, for Leone Afrobarometer, you get the same questions the way they ask all across Africa. You get a standard questionnaire where every country they implement. You get some CSQs, country-specific questions, but we on CSQs unfortunately not cover open governance. They cover more around questions on democracy, how people that they see democracy, how people that they see elections, how people that they trust different institutions, climate change, corruption. So now the questions are more we'll be able to cover. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. And I see some banner headline there where you talk about people have perception of if you like say the police not do very well. No fair. Just want to make clear again, Doc, so far when I will realize this is all talk about tripartite, not to the SLPP APCO, a government, APC, and the international community represented by the UN. So the SLPP as a political party was not involved in the tripartite process. It was the government of Salone with the political party that make important for them family also get that. So anyway, what I want to do, because Mr. gets additional questions and for all three of the panelists, but I want for today hopefully open up and give them a chance. Tripartite and something plenty people can say they're interested in. Now we get all the experts in IR, we get civil society experts, we get new data from Afrobarometer where it tell you about outside the country there. He say there's an improvement in people's perception on the direction of the country. You know, in data they can always say what you watch, not to station a trend. Trend lines. Where are you headed? And with all it we say we are glad for you that on a number of key indicators, government performance, so on overall thinking, say, oh, they targets me because of the ethnic group or things like that, we are heading in the right direction. And that they reflected again in the hard data. We look at the economy, inflation level don't drop dramatically, the dollar don't stabilize. The other day I did a radio with one the board and the opposition party. I think the host even tell and say the price of pepper, if they call the price was 3 times, and I say no, the price actually they don't. You know. So their basic thing in the country they continue for head in the right directions. Anyway, let's see the hands up for questions. We'll take the first set of questions and then we'll pass them over. I think we'll start on the side since we have majority of hands here. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see no one hand. And I can learn for always give the microphone to one. But we'll take the 4 on this side for now and then we'll see how we fare after that. Please, really honor. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let us go. Yes.
Watch and humanity. Dr. Ghana, Very long time Africa, I don't say Africa is a most institutionalized of institutions. This is true. The unity agreement and the institutionalization would have been equal as well to a given democratically elected government and not meet with unity agreement. Now there is a conflict. You get 70 political parties in this country. Today, one will be an opposition to another, one will be the government. The question when the Greek skeptics they ask, why do you give too much preferences to a given political party without consultation with the other 15 political parties? Hence, why as the BBRC Act talks in, all political parties then don't forget the same rights and privileges. What? Come 2023 elections, another political party cry foul. Would there be a repetition of another tripartite against her? Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Iwan CC Voice of Salome Radio. Dr. Belma, if they call the tripartite press conference already organized and book face, there are a lot of issues and way the opposition brings. How now tackle the area of the tripartite recommendations where the opposition don't make a lot of issues and they are based on the constitutional review and that's also the recommendation with the opposition. The constitutional review say they get political interference. And also the secretariat, also the opposition say they were not involved fully on the secretariat on the tripartite issues. How that's happened.
All right.
That's a question about 4 times this paper. After the 2023 election, one of the issues that maybe came out now be the issue of ECSN releasing the designated data. That now, when Mr. Carter made it up, he said the Tripartite Committee will make recommendation for the review of ECSN Act. So one from know if the reviewer for actually address this particular issue, if we go allow for the ECSN begin release the data now to the public.
Very good question. Thank you.
Me and John Kelly Mala, I report for Daybreak newspaper as well as Financial Standard. Dr. Gaima, you are the head of Principal Advisor to the President in Public Service Reform. What you don't do for implementing tripartite accommodation inside the public services reform? And how does he say it will be more tolerable, more than a policy statement? Thank you.
All right. We'll tap in the first. Actually, we can start with you, Mr. Carter, and then because Mr. Gaima gets so many of the questions there. So I'll start with you, see if you want to comment on something briefly, and then we'll come to Dr. Gaima, we go bring the thing home. Mr. Carter, I think 2 major questions there where we'll direct to you specifically. You're free for comment on the others. But one, the involvement of the opposition in the secretariat. I think one of the questions relates to that. And then I think the other one, whether, you know, the details of the recommendations and how they implement the recommendations. Yeah.
Well, first of all, in terms of reference of the Secretariat, the steering committee that is set up. And I'd also tell us, inside the steering committee, the minority leader of parliament did and the majority leader of parliament did. So now APC and SLPP. Also, most of the city mayors then did it. So then they also share between the 2 parties. So every meeting with the whole and the decisions that they come out. So they quite say the setting up of the secretariat now a process of the steering committee. And even Leone appointment, you will see the letter I get now the secretary to the steering committee. Now give me letter of appointment. and all the other experts and staff that were in the secretariat. So the oversight of the secretariat are from the steering committee they comes. The next one, now about how we implement this process. We now coordinate the implementation. So it means say all the recommendations that we don't talk about and the institution we related to, will they relate to them. So we get routine meetings with the Electoral Commission, PPRC, PSRU. In fact, inside PSRU, their office, and they will say their office. So we so they closer that will they relate almost every day. So all the institutions that will they relate to them. In fact, by the end of this month, what we will begin hold to call interagency coordination meetings. What's that mean? It means because we know for the go hold one meeting with each of the organizations there, we will begin hold meeting with all the under one roof, and we discuss how the implementations that they happen. So, for example, in the ECSL program, they give you a profile of what they don't do, and then we will take note of them, and all the others, and then we put their reports together. Now we present to the steering committee, then the steering committee takes action. So that's all they follow through the process. But we also do with the Ministry of Information a lot of public information and civic engagement. The ministry itself and they lead on the process. But we said they do small around them one day, especially for make citizens that understand the 8 recommendations. These are one sort of that. This is not at a glance. We will not develop. We will tell you about the 8 recommendations. So in fact, I don't bring some quantity where I will hand over to the minister for everybody gets a hand. Also, these consultations we will not do. Make we not get different conversation about what's going to happen. When are the people that will implement them, will they develop what you call a media brief on what's going to happen from the start of that consultation till the end. Now they back will don't bring some quantity can will shape our own and also make them understand how they work this process forward.
Wonderful. So we get additional material for you now. I can let for send from Unana say not so ya mean we government they proactively sit down say law design without the information to una ask dear one at owner. Dr. Friendly, please go ahead quickly.
Thank you. One question with somebody begins have been election results for published election results by polling station. Actually, now one of the questions that we will be asked by the AB, we ask should the ECSL publish election results by polling stations in all future elections? You actually get 91% of citizens may talk think yes, then for publisher. So just for giving a sense of what citizens they see. Thank you.
But Doc, to be clear, they publish results in polling stations. This is not the practice currently, even in all elections. The question is whether ECSL additionally will now publish a compilation of the disaggregated data. That's not this question maybe. So, Eliza, the practice currently is who sign me votes. When you go in after the votes, the results they did. They did it, not so? That's not the law right now. It pasted there. So that is a reaffirmation. But Doc, I think the question where this brother asked is if the review could include provisions for ensuring that request where APC will get, where by the way they don't be asked when an Escoma will win the election. They don't be asked. And it's very clear, eh? It's like a pattern of how we don't clarify that issue there. But important, where the opposition, you can want something versus where they power. The reason of reform, and follow all, do some blue, all the ones now going forward. So the question, sir, is whether the reform they want to work on will include, so it will satisfy all man, so will they get access to the Then Mr. Kama asked a couple of questions the way I should say take note of. One, why make the tripartite or the process be give so much preference So the APC will not get this question in the past. And waiting will stop in the future another political party where lost and not decide say, Mr. Panel clear, I make no stay, no set up tripartite, Mr. Put in a committee, Mr. Macau puts in a recommendation, you know, waiting at the measures that will put in place, we will ensure with the issue again. Yeah? Go ahead.
On the issue of disaggregated data, the Premier Minister said, the Public Elections Act, as amended currently, make provision for summaries of results statements, and then they post, and then put it center. The word disaggregated data was a creation of somebody's imagination. However, because in the tripartite it became an issue, if at some point the Public Election Act is reviewed and a provision is made for saying that's the way to do it, then the ECSL has no option. But another firm would also say, throughout the tripartite, and even as we implement the tripartite recommendation, the principle on which the agreement is done was one, that the Constitution of Sierra Leone Act No. 6 of 1991 will remain the principal law of the land, the ground law. And anything where they contradict them, unless it is amended, should not be allowed to stand. And President Bio is the guardian of the Constitution and want to the Constitution. Number two, we also say in the tripartite agreement and going forward that any recommendation made contrary to any existing legislation, until that legislation is repealed or amended, that recommendation will be held in abeyance on the sorting happen. Because agreements, like you say, between the government and one political party, no will probably can condemn all things happen. So I want to get that very clear. Now, why one party? Because it was one party that cried foul. And that one party who cried foul, people that they accept say that they made opposition party. But more importantly, President Bio was pushing himself to accept that party because democracy was hijacked. We don't know election, and then the party say, we don't participate. The councils were not of a meeting. Parliament, although it's a crime if you are elected by the people, if you hold the service to Parliament or the council, it's a crime. But the president don't look into that too. It's okay, they are concerned, don't talk about the concerns. So that happened. However, as members of the Tripartite Committee, we make sure we give audience to the 16 other political parties, including the SNP. So the recommendation of the 18th recommendation include the views and voices and submission from the 16 other political parties, including the SNP, which was not part of the agreements. Because the agreement was government APC. So I get that one clear on that. In terms of the implementation, somebody may want to ask why President Bio created the position why they occupy right now. And because he just wants to do justice to the public sector reform. The public sector reform by this country is as old as the Constitution itself. It's not, it says, if I won't finish the constitutional review, then these critical reforms must take place. Therefore, let us get a dedicated team of people who will aim for run with the reform alongside with the constitutional review so that it deliver a package to the nation. I want to assure you, say, we will get a very comprehensive public sector reform where they take care of everything that will come in the new constitution or the improved or revised constitution, including also how we will consolidate the gains that we will do in terms of youth empowerment, gender, equity, parity issues, addressing the issues of vulnerability in society. All of these are issues that he wants to leave his own legacy for the benefit of Salone and just a left Salone on a firm footing going into the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We get a new round of questions. We come on this side of the room now. All right. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 and number 5 to Jaffa. So we'll take 5 on this side.
My name is Mahmoud Silla from the Chinese paper. Number 1 question we go to Minister of Information. President Bio becoming the chairman of Heads of ECOWAS state. How President Bio will use this address the issue of Leone. That is one. Two, Dr. Friendly, I want to make you give me data on government or the people of Sierra Leone response on the climate change and environmental issues in Sierra Leone in the Afrobarometer survey.
Nature. Yes. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Patty was me, Majosha Shakonte, reporter, Women's Voice newspaper, Online TV. Main question to Mr. Carter. I will want to know the financial implication of the tripartite implementation.
Good afternoon, Amos Marshall Taiwan, aka the microphone vandalist. Mr. Minister, I want to direct the question to you. I want to give you some 40 feet container of respect and thank you for when you decentralize the civic disease. But I get a question. Some weeks ago, you vocally stated that in Kenema, we will host the president in a one-on-one confabulation, one-on-one conversation, one-on-one discussion. But majority analysts will attest to the fact that in Kenema, when everybody will expect the president, we instead get the chief minister we represent her. And many Sierra feel a huge sense of indignity. I want to follow why we don't get the president. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. The first question I would like to Mr. Carter. I'm going for resolution 4. Waiting at the actual number of prisoners at the end, the crime will commit. I talk about waiting the APC presents and how the government will respond to that, and the crime will commit because we now for the situation where somebody will commit crimes and I am under the umbrella of APC and SFP. So, Madam, close on a report on a Afro-Barometer report on be put the Sierra Leone police at the top, about 73% stand to be corrected. So I have to know waiting the result to this and how the government can respond to us for them because reporting reports out, not to secrecy, corruption, deep-seated in the Sierra Leone police. Now, Dr. Gaima, one of the recommendations there, the tripartite. One of the recommendations then went out for the threshold for reduce them from 55% to 50+1. Our best to get consultation with all political parties, not only APC or SFP. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Jaffa.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Mayor Jaffa Davis from Leone Democracy. Before this term, the Electoral Commission has allowed during a regional workshop, they talk about how they don't do internal review. As being our principal advisor on that sector, what you can tell me on the latest on that side?
Okay, some really good questions here. What we do this time is start with Dr. Gaima, get to her, and then me will respond to the questions and we come directly to me. So I think Dr. Gaima, the question on this ECSL is specific to you. They just do member one, and when I just present the report to see on ECSL, I think you just want to know what's in the inside there.
The report entitled Independent Management and Functional Review. So, a look at the current mandate of the ECSL. The mandate adequate as per the Public Elections Act 2022 or not. They also look at the way the organizational structure. Currently, the commissioners are based in Freetown, and they hold policy and operational mandates. Now the reports they say maybe there is a need to separate the policy from the operational mandate. The report also try to recommend say instead of the commissioner be based in Freetown, they should be located in the regions where assigned to them so that they take themselves closer to the people. There is also the issue around recruitment. They say ECSL forgets a standard recruitment policy, but inside that policy also there should be sensitivity for make sure say whether they recruit, ethnicity and region become a factor. So no one region or one ethnic group be more dominant than the other. And then the rest of the other one now how the ECSL will work with PPRC, how it will work with the other election management bodies, like NCRA, Statistics Radio, how it will work with the security sector, then how the ECSL will collaborate. Those are the issues. But like the minister says, we still get one more step. The president will resume the report. The political parties liaison committee will look at the report. But in the meantime, His Excellency don't already mandate that there should be weekly report to him on the status of implementation. So that there's any obstacle. Number two, they also request that the Ministry of Finance will able to provide the resources required for make sure say those recommendations are rolled out. Mindful say some of the recommendations and we need for them, they're not for be done 6 months to any pending election. So that's good. The other one is a quick one. On the threshold, 50+1, currently the constituency are used at 5% to get. If one go 50+1, then until the constitutional review and an amendment to the constitution takes place. But next time is one constitution currently is 55%, second round is simple majority.
And then an entrenched clause that
yes.
So you don't need for 2 people before we will change that. Okay. Dr. Friendly, you got 2 questions and one now waiting at the findings on climate and the environment, and the second one, if you could talk more about this perception of corruption in the police. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the questions. So you actually get 1/3 of Sierra Leoneans where they talk say they don't one day about climate change. Where they show we say we really still need for do intense this information, education and communication around climate change. 36% we talk say they don't one day able to. Then we also be asked questions around who do you feel say are the most responsible for do something for limit climate change. You get 45%, this is not the one that we don't hear about climate change, right? 45% when they talk say now the government's getting primary responsibility for limit climate change. But you also get 31% when they talk say we the citizens, we self get responsibility for limiting. So 45% for the government, 31% when they talk say we as ordinary citizens they get for do something for limit the issue. Then we also ask written at some of the policies we would like foresee for address climate change. And you get nearly 90%, so 88% of citizens when they talk say we need for invest in infrastructure. We go able for handle extreme flood and the droughts that we really get. 88% of citizens and talk about it. Then you get 72% when they talk say we need for invest in wind or solar energy, even if it get for cost we more money. 54% when they talk say let's take the way we cut, let we stop them, let we ban them completely. So over half they talk say let we ban cutting of firewood and charcoal, even if it make fuel price more expensive. So that's some of the key things, and that's where we get around climate change. We counter corruption. Yes, we still see the police as the most corrupt, and this not changed from 2022. The last year when we asked this, 73% of people in the talk say the police are the most corrupt salon. From there, you get 51, over half of the talk say business executives now the next when are the most corrupt. And when you watch across Africa, we get some of the highest numbers of people that when they talk say business executives and corrupt. So we need maybe then next are members of parliament, you get 49% when they talk say you MP, and 49% when they talk say you tax official, then set back corrupt. So just under half. And then amongst the top, for round and out, you get 41% when they talk say local government councillors, then set mixed back corruption. So this is one of the questions that we ask that why, One, I mean, we get your own ideas as researchers. Who are you meet most frequently in a street? Not the police. And anytime where you meet them, maybe depending on whether you be, they can ask for money. So maybe not one reason because the public they interface directly with the police. But we also get for us to say almost the police then almost everything in the make. What's not in salary. Business executives, maybe you can look say business executives that they can depend. So some of the contacts there where we get for with government and people, where they do, how do people see them as say that they do things on the interest of citizens, or maybe not their own that they fair? MPs, you can talk say MPs that they get oversight over the contracts and things where we see. So you get different reasons there. We make maybe you get their high percentages. But one thing we know they do, we know they ask, wait till make you fix it at the police, wait till make you fix it at the MPs, wait till we just they ask that of all them people there, who do you think is involved in corruption or you're enough for telling me? So thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kata, you get a few questions.
So the first question about finances around tripartite. Well, I will tell you, say, the government of Sierra Leone don't commit, support, to us the implementation of tripartite recommendations. So, even the setting up of the secretariat, the payment of salaries of the experts and other staff that we do, but also the support, for example, the way they go around this process. Whilst we get other international partners, the government said they come for support for move around and support them and handle them processes there. The opportunities that they gain from programs that we, let's say, for support civil society, for support political parties, for where they get a lot of engagement and make citizens understand the process. But also, we also get some support from the international community because of the commitment to the government on show and the level of relationship the government on pay with them on this process. So, any Southern area, the government on the support, then the supporter. So, for example, with recommendation 78, national dialogue, and the European Union to support them through international idea. One of them, long-term organizations who are dealing with elections business. And so we all, they move on, forget that conversation from the past. So we also talk about resolution 4 around political prisoners. It don't really be is tripartite. Tripartite and recommendation 3. Recommendation 4, a whole conversation about detained people that we can get associations with the elections. The list where the opposition begin, maybe up to more than 300. But when they go, then give the list to the correctional center, when they go, they look when they can lesser than that. But then, so what the Attorney General do is sit down with the opposition again and discuss the issue. The same self may go again when they look across the country. And the opposition begin handing to an organization when they are there for that. When they return back, the number can not to not even reach 15. So after them down a lot don't happen, and most of them people in the don't come out. One or two people in the we know who don't come out it because of it, who side them in the process. Because by that time when that process will reach to that point, one or two of them they will not complete already. They only wait for sentence. And if that don't happen, it means the Attorney General not get any role they get for play because it will be at the court in hand. And in the judicial system, the Attorney General when an executive and police head, they no one to interfere with waiting the judiciary to. So let's set up in a system we don't sentence them. But from the conversation, it's a 7 believes the other way that they will deal with that. Yeah, but that don't happen. Most of them don't come out, they don't go through process, but they don't come out. And we've been trying that the tripartite process through the steering committee for us make all the parties and make goodwill information about what will happen around that.
Thank you very much. You make an important point about let people know they commit crime and then think, say, through political settlements and get backdoor for escape justice. The original list to be common have been over 300, as you say. When they verify independently, the number being turned down to less than 15. Even with that, the only people who are left are the ones. So, by the way, Dr. Gaima will make it clear. The agreement of national unity means, say, they're not going to do anything if violates the constitutional standard. So it was an agreement, political settlement and agreement, and then now, one of the recommendations produced tripartite. So if you look at some of the other recommendations, they will include release of political, or prisoners, the way APC claimed for the political prisoners. Now, of those, the recommendation was that the government will look into their cases and figure out, also, sir, and you have been coaching on that. In fact, I remember Senami the press conference was assigned the memorandum and the full agreement. So important to state that. And I can say, the one way government get the opportunity as an executive for affect and change, bam, no problem. But government only grab the money, you also want to live in a country where if a case is ongoing with the judiciary, will be called judge and say you are left that person. This will undermine the democracy and undermine the rule of law. So that's important one again. Just a few, I think I get 3 specific questions. How would they use the chairmanship of ECOWAS for addressing the issue? Any change? We in a country, we're very proud to say we respect international law. Of course, we president get the platform now for continue for mobilizing colleagues across the sub-region for let try to resolve this issue diplomatically and for end what we don't declare an unprovoked aggression by our sister country Guinea. The reason we make it be important for them we be not talking. I think I give examples say we're not interested in war. We have complex interrelated relationship with Guinea, yeah? Recently on the power situation, we go to Guinea, we negotiate, and now they support me with power, they buy power from them. So they grab for one issue, you grab today, so they can say you spy to this for, you grab for do that, they say, oh, we'll take bomb and we'll begin first Guinea, President Leone is a man of peace. We will continue to explore all diplomatic options there, including the platform where His Excellency gets. Big question on President Leone showing up in Kenema, although this question plenty, I want to be clear. We commitment now been the 2nd edition of the presidential town hall. We don't know the 1st edition, His Excellency be show up and answer the questions very successfully. 2nd one, most people will know say His Excellency will not even travel go, he be neighbor. Alright? We make all the arrangements. He was ready, prepared, we don't send him. The question will not come online, but as head of state, he gets certain things the way they deal with where they make you sleep in a net. When you sleep fine. Because he did it. Things the way they happen with me, you know. He had to return to Freetown to address important issues. But it is so no one will cancel the program. Now he insists on 2 important things. One, he said the post that the chief minister will coordinate the minister there. Let him go and sit down at the stage and respond to the first set of questions that will not come online directly. 2, he gave very simple instruction. Every single minister with this alone for left Freetown now and head to Kenema. And because if when you go ask President Bill question about fit salons, really, President will give you the vision. But now Musa, no so, I will give you the detail. So His Excellency said the Chief Minister and over 24 top government officials, the AG, the top ministers, the health minister, the transport minister, and everybody. The instruction was when I sit down there, when I answer as many questions as possible. We did it for 4 straight hours. Unfiltered and unscripted. So the presidency was there. His Excellency, of course, regrets that he could not be there, but he believes we still had a presidential time because we carry the message and we answer the questions on behalf of the first gentleman of states, and the people of Kenya may appreciate that plenty. Final question around what do they do around this perception? So if I let family know one thing, yeah, Afrobarometer know the measure incidents of corruption. It is measure perception of corruption. Okay? Then they say, oh, authoritatively that the police are more corrupt. Then they say, people they believe say, in frame the question also. He said if they ask which one panel you think say most corrupt. But perception important. Extremely important. So the police gets a duty, and I don't say the Honorable Inspector General of Police concerned about that. How do we engage the public for let the police claim their reputation as an institution when all the time corrupt? But we all get all for play, eh? Corruption, perception, also PR exercise. Action. And I use this easy because every corruption, somebody else complicit in the corruption. You will not follow the law, you complicit, you find another way for go. That is what will lead to that. So that day, as a civic education minister, and we all learn. You know, we recently decided an agreement with Anti-Corruption Commission for help establish additional civic integrity clubs and schools, and for encourage and push this message for that we embrace a culture of integrity and non-corruption as well. So that's something I know we will continue to do. Now, we have about 9 more minutes. I want to see if anybody there will get a burning question we think say, your question will be asked it. You can say burning question, when I bring the mic, please. You sure say they don't ask the question. Okay, so then we will take anybody else. I'll take 1, 2 quickly. Let's start with this one and I'm quick. Take the mic, please. Just keep it short. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Mina Leone from Serakali blog. Concerning the tripartite, who must not go out to blow and say the ending of the tripartite, presidents don't sign and say before hand over to the All People's Congress. And blow and they up to date, even when we don't say they don't give the party chairmanship now the course. So we want to know how to do that because then they don't go out and say the tripartite will know, they don't sign up.
It's good. Thank you. Now we deal with fake news. Let's go. The second, no, we don't say 2. Only the other one. That's it. We're done.
Yes, concerning tripartite, when exactly this reform will be taking place?
When?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I feel like I can respond to both questions in my capacity as the official spokesman for the government of Salone. I can tell you clearly, unequivocally, that no such agreements exist. No such plan no day for the government of His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio for say we don't go get some backroom deal for say we done this, the agreement will be handed over to the APC. If anybody believes that day, including in the opposition, it's actually good for we because then they will make sure say they be complacent. Because we intention now is speak now as government and for continuing our power through legitimate means, for win the elections and for continue. I know say that President Bio as well for let deliver. So we go back to the people and ask the people that will give mandates to in your party for them to continue because we believe say our ideas are superior and we believe that our ideas will move this country forward. So that our belief, of course the opposition gets a right for belief otherwise, but that's what democracy is about. But no backroom deal, no day. In fact, President Bio's chairmanship now because of in global stature, in colleague in say and say this man now for turn to now for help to take the sub-regional block forward and that will continue for you. The second question around timelines. Now the timelines are varied, they're wide. The AG, for example, on the reforms there. The AG don't see some of the reforms the way the recommendations, tripartite recommend, so then they can just take up parliament. In fact, some of them don't start the process for tabling of parliament. Some of them they will require for them to change the constitution, where they made a whole referendum. So that is a long-term process, require all money in a big election. different proposals and there around how we'll get to that. Waiting clear now that the fact we don't set up the secretariats, the fact that all the reform, one of the recommendations, for example, now for review the SLBC Act, Ministry of Information, we do that, IMC Act. We already get a copy, we don't send them to the AG for them to take them and finalize and table that. So plenty of the reform process, cyber security, law as well for review and so plenty in terms of timeline with a time with urgency. Each and every one, the recommendation is diverse. So you're not going to put some of them the way you're not going to achieve even by 2028. Some of them the way they go beyond that, yeah? But the one that we will do today, we will do it now. Before we go, I want to give a chance, a minute each. So we'll start with you, Mr. Carter. Just final word as we close this session. Yes.
So tripartite recommendations about Sierra Leonean processes, an opportunity for make Sierra Leone completing the way not be around for too long. For example, the constitutional review process over 20 years, from Akaba, Peter Tucker, in review, to President Kuroma, Justice Kawa in review, now to President Biu. And I think President Biu really believes say that for end now. One. The second part now that this country elections issues always done there before. So then the bad issue they believe say with them reviews they will able to solve most of them problems. I mean a clear good laws we will talk about how each of them process their work and reforms. Also we will look at institutions, the reviews around the structures and functions, the reviews around the procedures and policies and their laws, and also the review around opportunities for motivate workers and for make them live up to that kind of standard. I think when we do all those, we're making Sierra Leone a better place.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas Golokata, Chair of the Tripartite Steering, Chair of the Secretariat, Coordinator of the Secretariat, Head of the Secretariat, Coordinator. Yes, Madam, go ahead, Doctor.
Thank you. So I think on our side, what we really see from the data, we definitely see things that have improved, and we also see areas that we got people that they ask for more things. We can talk about AB as we can talk saying that in lived reality. Now, what people then also don't experience. So one of the questions that we will be asked is, how do you want to see the recommendation? Just in line with some of the questions that we'll not ask. And one thing people say 93% talk say all governments for promote regional and ethnic balance in political appointments. I think we don't come up. So this is something where people in back they say the same thing. That's something where they want to see. So for we identify national cohesion, we identify economy, we also identify this idea of more inclusion. And so we believe that this process, tripartite, the process on electoral reform, could be one possibility, one way for everybody come around and design a system where people that will feel included, including women, for that way at least get 50%, where people that will feel included and will feel so anybody, salon big for we all, salon big pass we all, as in Mr. Kile for say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fredley Makomok-Hill, from the Institute of Governance Reform and do the Afro-Barometer report. We thank you for your good work. Dr. Emmanuel Gaima, your final words, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I wanted the people of Salon to say reform, not to events. Reform, not to accidents. Reform, not process. There's step against stages. Number two, I wanted people to say the tripartite agreement or the recommendation, with the timeline, and government did well within the timeline, and that there has been no slippage at the timeline. But thirdly and more importantly, President Biu always keeps talking saying, let's do governance with a humane face. So the reform for me about the people all the time and the people's interest. So the one that we can tweak for political partisan interest is not fair. I always get this analogy where I can say, when you do reform, as you say, the empty chair will sit down in the room, the dining so, others are looking and sit down there. And you are not going to see them if you be mindful about their concerns and their interests. You rest assured, like Englishman say, President Leone puts energy into the reform process. He must finish all the suspended, long-standing reform, the constitutional review, and all of these changes. The public service itself, in one time for a public service for the 21st century. Apart from that public service, the civil service itself, we will also complain about. And at some point, perhaps we will also do some a little bit of security sector reform. And then we'll do what, in addition to that, the job where more is to do, Mr. Bayo that to do. For me, I think say, the most critical reform of the mind, reform that will make us conscious, civic aware, love the country, patriotism. If we start from that, the rest of the other one are about institutions. But if we fix those institutions and we still not reform the mind, we will not make progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel Gaima, Principal Executive Advisor to the President of the Public Service and Head of the Public Sector Reform Unit. Family, on that note, and so we come to the end of this edition of the press conference. I want to announce we get the material here. We, the coordinator of the Tripartite Secretariat, still left. My team will distribute it to Una after this. Myself, one game meeting with the press corps with there. So today, and now I don't have follow the guests ready to go. I did stay because we need for talk. So I really want all my way there when I'm part of the press corps. We need to have a conversation. We are on the plan for a long time, but we'll not get. I want to tell thank you to UNDP and the Chinese government. We help with refurbish and set up this place and all the equipment they will use for Katona. Until next week, Assalamu alaikum.